Why are thousands of men waking up every night, rushing to the bathroom, thinking it's just a normal part of aging, when it might actually be something your prostate is trying to warn you about? I'm Dr. Justin Keller, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you something most doctors don't. The truth about one powerful fruit that could help shrink your prostate naturally, and why hardly anyone is talking about it. If you're over 60 and you've noticed changes, frequent urination, weak stream, interrupted sleep, this isn't just about inconvenience. It's your body signaling something deeper. In this video, I'll explain exactly what's happening to your prostate as you age, the warning signs you should never ignore, and how one fruit, yes, just one, may support your prostate health in ways medications often don't. You're going to learn what's really causing your prostate to grow, the natural, research-backed fruit that can help fight that growth, how to use it correctly, daily habits that actually work, and the most important signs that it's time to take action. And I want you to watch all the way until the end, because the first habit I'll reveal might surprise you, and it could be the one that helps you sleep through the night again. If you find this topic important, please like this video and subscribe to Glowing Age. That's what helps me bring more real, practical health advice to men like you. And let me know where you're watching from. Drop your city in the comments. I love seeing how far this message is reaching. Let's dive in. The silent struggle. What most men don't talk about. Why do so many men wait until they're waking up 5 times a night before they say anything? I've asked that question more times than I can count. I'm Dr. Justin Keller, and I've sat across from thousands of men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, most of them intelligent, capable, and proud, but struggling quietly with something they don't bring up until it becomes unbearable. Prostate enlargement isn't new. Nearly 50% of men over 60 are already dealing with it in some form. That number jumps to 90% by the time you're in your 80s. But what surprises me most isn't how common it is, it's how little we talk about it. It usually starts subtly. A little pressure, a slower stream. Maybe you start needing the bathroom more often. At first, it's an inconvenience. Then it becomes a disruption. Your sleep takes a hit. You stop going out as much because you're always scanning for the nearest restroom. You start planning your evenings around your bladder, not your life. But instead of talking about it, you push through. You convince yourself it's just part of getting older, that it's not serious, that it's embarrassing to bring up. Let me be very clear, it's not. This isn't just about urination. It's about quality of life, sleep, dignity, independence. And it's far more manageable than most people realize. What many men don't understand is that this slow, frustrating change is usually due to something called benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. It's not cancer, it's not life-threatening, but it can be life-altering if ignored. The prostate, which sits just below the bladder, begins to grow due to hormonal shifts as we age, mainly a change in how testosterone is converted in the body. As it grows, it starts to squeeze the urethra, the tube that carries urine out of the body, causing those annoying, sometimes painful symptoms. Now here's what's important. I've seen so many cases where men waited too long. They didn't want to seem weak. They didn't want to bother the doctor. But by the time they came in, they were dealing with bladder damage, chronic infections, and in some cases, complete urinary retention that required emergency treatment. It never had to get to that point. This is why I'm speaking to you plainly today. I don't want you to suffer in silence, because suffering in silence doesn't make you strong, it just makes you isolated. And the good news is, you're not alone, and you have options. Over the last decade, we've learned more about the prostate than ever before. We know now that diet, lifestyle, and yes, even specific fruits can have a significant impact on reducing inflammation and easing symptoms. But before we talk about what helps, we need to be honest about what hurts. And that begins with acknowledging the problem, not burying it. If you're waking up multiple times a night, if you've started to feel hesitant or incomplete when you go, or if you've begun adjusting your life around bathroom breaks, that's your body trying to tell you something. Listen to it. I've had men cry in my office, not because of pain, but because of relief that they weren't crazy. That someone finally understood what they were going through, that they had options, that it wasn't too late. You don't need to live with discomfort. You don't need to accept constant interruption to your daily life as just part of getting older. There are solutions, but the first step is breaking the silence. Let's start there. What's really happening to the aging prostate? Most men don't realize just how early the changes begin. By the time you're in your early 50s, your prostate may already be growing, and not because of anything you did wrong. It's a normal biological process driven by hormones, especially one in particular, dihydrotestosterone or DHT. DHT is a byproduct of testosterone. In younger men, it plays a useful role in sexual development. But as we age, DHT levels can increase inside the prostate, even as testosterone levels decline elsewhere in the body. That buildup of DHT causes the prostate cells to multiply, slowly enlarging the gland. That's benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. Now, to understand why this matters, think about where the prostate sits. It wraps around the urethra like a donut. As the prostate grows, it begins to press against the urethra. That pressure is what causes the stream to weaken, the hesitancy, the dribbling, and the sense that you didn't fully empty your bladder. Over time, your bladder muscles work harder to push urine through the narrow channel. Eventually, those muscles become overworked and less effective. Here's something else most men aren't told. BPH is not cancer. It doesn't increase your risk of prostate cancer, and it isn't life-threatening on its own. But it does threaten your quality of life. Chronic urinary issues can lead to sleep deprivation, irritability, sexual dysfunction, and social withdrawal. I've seen patients give up golfing, road trips, even dating, because the anxiety around their symptoms became overwhelming. Worse, if left untreated, an enlarged prostate can lead to more serious complications. Bladder stones, infections, kidney strain. I've treated men with permanent damage simply because they assumed this was something they had to live with. You don't. Let's talk science for a moment. Imaging studies and urodynamic tests show clear changes in bladder function when the prostate is enlarged. One study published in the Journal of Urology tracked men over 60 and found that untreated BPH symptoms worsened progressively in 70% of participants within just 5 years. That's not a slow drift, it's a sharp decline in daily comfort. But there's also good news. The prostate responds well to natural anti-inflammatory interventions. Certain nutrients, particularly those rich in antioxidants and phytochemicals, have been shown to reduce swelling and support healthy hormone balance in prostate tissue. That's where food comes in, and it's exactly what we'll explore shortly. But before we go there, I want to be very clear. If you're experiencing symptoms, they are not just annoyances. They are signals. And understanding what's happening inside your body is not just empowering, it's essential. You've lived long enough to know your body deserves attention. You've earned the right to live with comfort and dignity. Prostate changes are part of aging, yes, but how we respond to those changes makes all the difference. And that response starts with knowledge. The unexpected hero. A fruit with powerful healing potential. When we talk about prostate health, most people expect to hear about medications, surgeries, maybe even supplements. But rarely do we start where we should, at the table. Nature has a way of offering solutions long before we think to ask for them. And in the case of prostate health, one of the most powerful allies isn't hidden in a lab or behind a prescription pad. It's something far simpler. The pomegranate? Yes, the humble pomegranate. For thousands of years, this fruit has been used in ancient medicine, from Persia to India, as a symbol of vitality, fertility, and healing. But only recently has modern science caught up with that wisdom, especially when it comes to men's health after 60. Let's look at what's inside this fruit that makes it so powerful. Pomegranate is incredibly rich in polyphenols, a type of antioxidant that helps fight inflammation at the cellular level. That matters because inflammation plays a major role in the enlargement of the prostate. When prostate tissue becomes inflamed, it can swell and grow more rapidly, making symptoms worse. One of the key compounds in pomegranate is punicalagin, an antioxidant so potent it's been shown in lab studies to reduce oxidative stress in prostate cells, slow down the activity of enzymes that fuel inflammation, and even suppress the growth of abnormal prostate tissue. But we're not just talking theory here. Several human studies have backed this up. In one clinical trial published in the journal Clinical Cancer Research, men who consumed pomegranate juice daily showed a significant increase in PSA doubling time. That means the progression of prostate-specific antigen, a marker used to monitor prostate health, slowed down. In plain language, pomegranate helped stabilize their prostate condition. Another study out of UCLA looked at men with rising PSA levels following prostate treatment. Daily intake of pomegranate juice helped reduce the speed of PSA increase, suggesting real, measurable benefits even in those with existing prostate stress. And the best part? You don't need to eat piles of fruit or take exotic extracts to see the benefits. An 8-ounce glass of unsweetened pomegranate juice a few times a week can be enough to make a difference over time. Some men prefer the seeds, others take a standardized pomegranate extract capsule. All are valid depending on what fits your lifestyle and digestion. But I want to be honest here, pomegranate isn't a miracle cure. It won't shrink the prostate overnight. It's part of a larger picture, a holistic approach to managing aging and health with intention. What makes it powerful is its consistency. Natural compounds work best when they're part of your routine, not just an occasional effort. And when you think about it, doesn't that fit perfectly with the wisdom we gain as we get older? We learn that real change doesn't come from dramatic fixes. It comes from steady, thoughtful action, from choosing something good and sticking with it. So why aren't more people talking about this? Frankly, there's no major industry pushing pomegranate. There's no patent, no marketing campaign, but the data is there. The tradition is there. And the results, if you give it time, can be life-changing. In my practice, I've seen men regain control of their daily lives, sleep through the night again, reduce their medication, and feel like themselves, all after making simple dietary shifts like this. If there's one thing I want you to remember, it's this: your body still listens. Even now, even after 60, it still responds to care, to nourishment, and to the right kind of attention. Pomegranate is one of those gentle, powerful tools that respects the body's rhythm and works with it, not against it. And sometimes, that's all the body needs: a little support from nature and the wisdom to know it matters. How to use it? Simple daily habits that actually work. One of the most common questions I hear after discussing the benefits of pomegranate is, "Okay, doc, how exactly do I take it?" The good news is, it doesn't require a complicated regimen. In fact, the simpler you keep it, the better. Let's start with pomegranate juice. If you're going this route, look for 100% pure, unsweetened juice. No added sugars, no blends, no concentrates. You want the real thing, ideally cold-pressed if available. An 8-ounce glass a day, taken in the morning with breakfast, is a great starting point. Some men prefer to split that into 2 smaller servings, half in the morning, half in the afternoon, to help maintain steady levels of antioxidants in the body. That's perfectly fine. Now, if juice isn't your thing, maybe you're watching your blood sugar or prefer a different texture. Whole pomegranate seeds, also known as arils, are just as effective. Half a cup sprinkled over oatmeal, blended into a smoothie, or eaten as a mid-morning snack can provide the same polyphenols, fiber, and vitamins. It's also a nice way to engage your digestion and support gut health, which has a direct link to hormone regulation and inflammation control. Then there are capsule or extract options. These are especially useful if you're traveling, have a sensitive stomach, or just prefer not to deal with the fruit itself. Look for standardized pomegranate extract with clear labeling, ideally one that lists the percentage of punicalagin or polyphenols. A dose between 200 and 500 mg daily is typically safe and effective. But always run supplements past your physician or pharmacist, especially if you're on medications like blood thinners. What matters most, whether juice, seeds, or extract, is consistency. Think of this not as a quick fix, but as a quiet act of daily maintenance, like brushing your teeth or walking after meals. You're building health one small choice at a time. Now here's where I often challenge my patients: don't stop with the fruit. Pair it with small, prostate-friendly habits that multiply its effects. For example, try adding 10-15 minutes of walking after meals. This improves circulation, reduces inflammation, and helps manage insulin sensitivity, all of which influence prostate function. Drink plenty of water, but taper off by early evening. That simple timing adjustment helps reduce nighttime trips to the bathroom. You stay hydrated during the day without overloading your bladder at night. Cut back slightly on red meat and processed dairy, both of which have been linked to increased prostate inflammation in several peer-reviewed studies. You don't have to give them up completely, but moderation, combined with antioxidant-rich foods like pomegranate, creates a much healthier internal environment. Even small reductions in caffeine and alcohol, especially after 6 p.m., can ease bladder irritation. Your goal isn't to restrict your life, it's to rebalance it. And one more thing, don't overlook stress. Chronic stress raises cortisol, disrupts hormones, and increases inflammation system-wide. Gentle breathing exercises, a short daily walk, or even just keeping a regular bedtime can do more for your prostate than most people imagine. Here's the bottom line. When it comes to aging well, small steps done daily beat heroic efforts done occasionally. Pomegranate is powerful, yes, but it works best in a lifestyle that honors consistency, not urgency. You don't need to overhaul your diet overnight. Just begin, pick one habit, add the juice, sprinkle in the seeds, take the walk, and trust that your body will meet you there. Because the truth is, you're not just managing symptoms, you're building a better foundation for the years ahead. Warning signs you shouldn't ignore, let me speak plainly, because this part could save you from long-term complications that far too many men overlook. There are warning signs your body gives when your prostate is struggling, and ignoring them doesn't make you tough. It just makes things worse. I've seen patients delay care for months, even years, thinking what they were feeling was just a normal part of aging. By the time they walked into my office, they were dealing with bladder infections, kidney strain, and in some cases, irreversible damage. So what should you be watching for? The first and most common sign is frequent urination, especially at night. Getting up once isn't unusual, but if you're waking up 2, 3, 4 times every night to relieve yourself, that's not just your bladder. It's likely your prostate pressing against the urethra, limiting flow and keeping your bladder from fully emptying. Next is a weak or interrupted urine stream. If it takes longer to start or your stream stops and starts, that's another classic sign. Some men even have to push or strain to get the flow going. That's your body telling you the channel is narrowing. Then there's urgency, that sudden can't-wait feeling, or worse, incontinence, leaking before you reach the restroom. These issues aren't just about embarrassment. They're signs your bladder is becoming overactive or fatigued from years of fighting obstruction. Another red flag is a feeling that you didn't fully empty your bladder, even right after going. That sensation isn't in your head. In many cases, an ultrasound or bladder scan confirms that urine is left behind, creating a perfect environment for infections and stones to form. And don't dismiss blood in the urine, burning, or pain during urination. These are never normal and must be evaluated immediately. They could signal infection, bladder irritation, or even something more serious like cancer. Now, I want to be careful here. Not every symptom points to cancer. That's a fear many men carry, and it's understandable. But in most cases, these signs are linked to benign prostatic hyperplasia, not malignancy. Still, that doesn't mean you can afford to brush them off. Let me also say this. If you're relying on coping strategies, limiting fluids too early, avoiding social events, planning every outing around restroom locations, you're managing around a problem, not addressing it. And the longer that goes on, the harder it becomes to reverse. There's one warning sign that often gets ignored until it becomes a crisis: urinary retention. This is when the prostate has grown large enough to block urine flow completely. You may suddenly find you can't urinate at all, despite feeling like your bladder is full. This is a medical emergency, and it's painful, emotionally and physically. I've had to place emergency catheters in men who waited too long because they didn't think their symptoms were serious. The truth is, your body is talking to you. Symptoms are messages, not punishments. And the sooner you respond, the more options you have. Medications, diet changes, physical therapy, and lifestyle improvements can make a profound difference if started early. In some cases, simple outpatient procedures can prevent years of decline. But nothing happens until you decide to take your symptoms seriously. If you're noticing these signs, frequent nighttime urination, weak stream, urgency, incomplete emptying, don't wait. Talk to your doctor, advocate for yourself, and most of all, don't accept discomfort as the cost of aging. You deserve better than that. You've earned better than that. Beyond the fruit, Living well, aging brighter, let's take a step back for a moment. We've talked about pomegranate, how it supports the prostate, how to use it, and what signs to never ignore. But if you've been listening closely, you've probably realized something. Good health in your 60s, 70s, and beyond is never just about one food or one organ. It's about the whole picture. And that picture includes how you eat, how you move, how you rest, and how you live. I've spent over a decade working with older adults, and I can tell you, some of the healthiest men I've met don't have perfect lab numbers. They have something better: consistency, purpose, and a mindset that refuses to coast through the later chapters of life. When your prostate isn't acting up, it's easy to forget about it. But when it starts interfering with your sleep, your energy, or your confidence, suddenly the rest of your life gets dimmer too. You can't enjoy a walk if you're always scouting for the nearest restroom. You can't travel with ease if you're worried about symptoms. That quiet dignity of feeling in control of your own body is everything. And here's the truth many men miss: prostate health is tied to full-body wellness. Your hormones, your weight, your gut, even your emotional stress, all of it plays a role. That's why we must think bigger than just shrinking an organ. Start by building what I call a foundation of low inflammation. You already know about pomegranate, but pair that with a Mediterranean-style approach to eating: more vegetables, legumes, olive oil, fish, nuts. Not for a diet, but as a lifestyle. You're not counting calories, you're feeding your cells. You're calming your system down day by day. Movement matters too. I'm not talking about gym memberships or marathons. I mean walking daily, stretching in the morning, lifting light weights a few times a week to maintain muscle. That movement improves blood flow, lowers inflammation, and boosts testosterone naturally. It also keeps your bones strong and your mind sharp. And let's talk about rest. Sleep isn't just a recharge, it's repair. Interrupted sleep from prostate symptoms adds up. It affects your memory, mood, blood sugar, and immunity. By addressing your prostate early, you're also protecting your brain and heart. That's the quiet domino effect we don't talk about enough. Now here's something less talked about but just as critical: connection and purpose. I've seen men withering not from illness but from isolation. When they re-engage, whether it's through a hobby, volunteering, or simply spending more time with family, their energy changes. They eat better, they sleep better, their health improves. That's not just anecdote. Studies show men with strong social connections live longer and report better physical function. So yes, pomegranate helps. But so does joy. So does laughter. So does waking up with something to look forward to. And you are never too old to build those things into your life. Aging doesn't mean fading. It means refining. Slowing down just enough to live with more intention, more clarity, more care for this one body that's carried you through decades. You've come too far to settle for decline. Whether you're managing prostate symptoms, improving your diet, or just listening more closely to what your body is telling you, know this: you still have a say in how you age. And every small, thoughtful choice you make now, that's not just extending your life, it's improving the quality of it, and that's what matters most. You've just learned what most men never hear until it's too late: how the aging prostate works, what to watch for, and how something as simple as a piece of fruit can make a real difference in your daily comfort, your sleep, and your confidence. But remember, this isn't just about one fruit. It's about living well, aging brighter, and making small choices that add up over time. Your health is still in your hands, no matter your age. If something in this video helped you or gave you clarity, please hit that like button and subscribe to Glowing Age. That's how we keep this message going: real, honest, respectful care for men over 60. And if you haven't already, leave your city in the comments so we can see this community grow. Aging doesn't mean fading. It means learning how to live stronger, quieter, and wiser. I'm Dr. Justin Keller. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one.